All right, we're ready.
All right, so welcome everyone. We're now called to order the Arts Council of Alachua County meeting for January 4th, 2021. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Thank you.
Good. So we have on the agenda the approval of the agenda as well as approval of minutes. We're not going to take a motion for those items, but everyone did get a chance to look at them, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, very good. So now I'm going to turn this over to Gina.
All right. So I don't know if we want to go in order of the agenda, but Queen had just brought up a conversation about inviting the City of Gainesville Cultural Affairs to one of our upcoming meetings. So Madam Chair, how would you like to proceed?
Let's go ahead and just insert that before the strategic plan.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a lot I can say, but yes, please do.
Okay.
All right, so Queen.
Before the meeting was called to order, Dr. Queen had asked if the City of Gainesville Cultural Affairs could be invited to a future meeting so that they could share with us some of their initiatives that they've got going on, because they have a lot of things going on within the City of Gainesville limits, but not so much for unincorporated and the other 8 smaller cities. So you cannot take a vote. Again, this is a workshop, but if it's kind of just the general concurrence of the group, I don't mind sending Russell and David an email inviting them to an upcoming meeting to provide an update.
Okay.
And you're muted. Sorry,
David, you're muted.
Sorry, no wonder. For clarification, my last time as chair was actually in December. So Marcy, who was the vice chair under me, is now actually the chair currently.
Who was that?
Marcy, I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Okay.
On the board currently. The chair now. So, but yes, I certainly would welcome you guys inviting Russell and her to our meetings so they can go over what, the department and cultural affairs board for the city does or is doing.
Okay. So my thoughts about that was when the City of Gainesville and Alachua County was a joint board, the City of Gainesville had to serve the City of Gainesville, but it was also designated that local arts agency, which was that agency that provided resources and support to everyone in the county. The City of Gainesville is no longer that local arts agency. We are. So we have the responsibility to support the artists throughout Alachua County. I don't see where it's the city gains. I mean, I think that inviting Russell to tell us what he's doing for City of Gainesville residents is great, but he's not obligated to go past the City of Gainesville artists. So if the City of Gainesville artists are not being serviced by the City of Gainesville, I'm not sure how that's something that we should take up.
Okay, the reason why I was bringing that up is because first of all, the word cultural affairs is supposed to be something huge, that covers a wide area. Most or all cultural affairs serves county, not just a small area within a county. Okay, when I'm dealing with the state of Florida cultural affairs, she's constantly thinking, or she referring me to talk to Russell about a county project. So if my project is a county project, why am I communicating with Russell? She says because he's part of the cultural affairs. And
that
so
just may be
a confusion. It's a confusion.
I think it may not be updated properly with the state. Gina is the new cultural affairs for the county, Gina's office, which in turn is us. Russell, because the City of Gainesville was that LAA for so many years, it may just not be updated with the state, or they understand that there's a new entity. We're now the LAA.
Okay.
And so and I think that's a matter of just building relationships with the state and letting them know who we are, what our goals are. And we thank the city of Gainesville for what they've done, because they've done a great job. But now we're that agency, the LAA, and I don't think they may not be fully aware, because we don't really promote ourselves, and we're not, in Tallahassee's face, and we haven't put a countywide grant through as our local arts agency yet with them. That's just my thought.
I still say,
I mean, every city has
acting, but I'm saying, but if we're acting as the agency and we're acting as the cultural affairs now, then the city, if they're an agency too, that's doing the same thing we're doing or supposed to be doing, then they should be able to come and relate information to us. So, I mean, so this way, either we can work together, collaborate, or we don't crash heads.
Okay, I'm gonna ask other people to jump in on this, but every city has a right to have within their parks and recreation their cultural affairs component. The city of Gainesville has Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. City of Alachua has City of Alachua Parks, Recreation, and Culture. Micanopy, anybody can put cultural affairs into their city's plan, and we really want to see that, because that helps us promote what we have in the county, that these different municipalities are committed to the arts. We are not, unless we're funding them, we can't tell the different municipalities what to do. We can encourage collaboration with them. We can offer these, like we just gave the mini grants to the city of Alachua. So that shows that we're willing to form partnerships. We can do the same thing with Gainesville, but we can't, we're not in charge of them.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we should be in charge. I'm saying, where's the cohesiveness when it comes down to the arts within this county that we're supposed to be about?
We are supposed to be about everybody, not just the city of Gainesville. Okay. And we're supposed to be about individual artists as well as our visual, all of it. We're supposed to be about everybody. And I think when we focus just on the city of Gainesville, people get confused. They just think it's another Gainesville organization. I think our commitment needs to be bigger than just the city of Gainesville. However, we support the city of Gainesville, and it's the largest municipality in the county. But if those artists are not being serviced the way they would like, they should come to the council, us, and tell us what their concerns are.
What I'm saying, but the problem is, like you mentioned earlier, that maybe the state or others were not getting out there, because everybody still points back to Russell, not us. Even though I'm talking about us, they still sends me back to Russell, because even now the state sends me back to Russell.
And you should send them back to Gina.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
you need to send them if you have any questions. Yeah, that's what I would do, Doctor. I would just send people to Gina. I mean, at the end of the day, we need to send them to Gina.
I'm saying,
okay,
there is a problem.
Okay.
Anytime you're doing any type of business, you're running any type of corporation, business, or organizations, there's certain things that should be put in place in order for you to have those kind of cohesiveness that's going on within your environment or your community. Just like when I go to my son's school and they're doing things and they're talking about the arts and stuff. Hey, come to CAC. What is that? Well, I'm going down to the cultural affairs. I'm going to talk to Russell. I talk to Russell and blah, 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 blah. And it becomes like a sore eye. And I'm constantly like putting some eye drop in the eye because they're fixated on the cultural affairs and they're not getting this way. So I'm suggesting that maybe Russell can, a cultural affair from the city, since we're a part of the county, that they can come and give us a report on what they're doing. So this way we're not clashing, but maybe we can collaborate. We can work together. So this way he's not just spoon feeding a small group of people and we're not able to, do the same because we're doing the same projects. We're doing the same thing. So it's better that we can work together as a family than everybody doing their separatism. Make sense?
Okay, I understand. I'll open it up to anybody else with any feedback. Any other council members? Got any thoughts?
As was mentioned, maybe we should put on the agenda to promote our organization more.
Mhm. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to comment about it? David, what is your thoughts? You're on the city's advisory board.
I definitely think it is always beneficial to know what these cities are doing because Gainesville Department of Cultural Affairs, they get the word out in Gainesville about what's going on, but it may not be reaching all of the smaller cities and stuff like that. But I definitely think us as a arts council or the local arts agency for the county, we definitely need to do a better job. Even what's on our website about what we do, it's not this basic information and our purpose and what we're striving for, stuff like that, but a better job of promoting that we are a resource for the smaller cities and stuff like that would be great. And also like even somewhere where people can put what they have coming up, like events and stuff like that. Sort of like the 352 Arts, where organizations go on there and put what events they're having and things like that. But something just more so where to go to when you need
Right.
certain things done.
And see, and one of the things as the I mean, we're not over this department, but as the local arts agency, you can also refer people to visit Gainesville, Alachua County. That is a county organization, and they do an awful lot with the arts. Every arts organization submits there, and that's part of us. We're part of that. We're the county. So we're getting it out there. I think to just kind of address what Queen's issue is, I think we just need to promote the council and what the council's job is. And also, everybody can share it and talk about it. And as we give out all these grants, one of the things I know the city of Gainesville, when I was on their board, the agencies that we give monies to should be promoting the arts council, thanking the arts council for their money, or the board of county commissioners, or that kind of stuff. So I just think that we just have to keep doing what we're doing. But if artists are dissatisfied about what services they're getting from the city of Gainesville's cultural affairs, I'm not sure what responsibility Russell's department has to individual artists, because I think they produce a lot of their own events. They're trying to fundraise and raise and write grants and get just like everybody else. They're no longer the local arts agency, so they're not necessarily to give resources countywide, but they can help their own individual people. But that's between the city of Gainesville's department. We can't tell them how they service their people.
So what would you suggest for promoting this agency without collaborating with other established art agencies?
I think that anyone that we give funding to, we are collaborating. I think that anyone that submits information, if it's a partnership, it's an agreement. If we give you money, then that means we're supporting your project. Working with, see, the thing is, I'm want to be careful about collaborating with the city of Gainesville. We're two separate entities. If we're going to collaborate with the city of Gainesville, then I would like for you to collaborate with the city of High Springs and Alachua. Because in Micanopy and Hawthorne, Newberry, Archer. If we're going to do these collaborations, yes, they've got a bigger name. They've been doing it for a very long time. And I was a part of that back in the 90s. I was there when Dr. Moore and Connie Drasaldi was there in 88. So I understand everything that's happened, but we have to focus on our council and what we need to do. And if we're going to do partnerships, let's reach out. We've got beautiful county facilities that we're putting art and stuff in. We've got the new Camp McConnell that's going to have great things. We need to build what we're doing. And then if we can help artists, then that's what we're here to do. But I don't think we should focus on one municipality.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think our program has some really good budgets for current projects. And if we share this, we will encourage the city of Gainesville or anybody else to sponsor arts in higher amount, bigger amounts of money. So it's a good idea to encourage artists who were granted through this organization to tell about these opportunities, and maybe we could suggest them a simple text about our organization so they could understand themselves who we are and what the guidance it is. Yeah, ordinance.
I still feel like there's a missing link, but okay.
Well, I think if you reach out to Russell and invite him, I think he'd be very happy to share what the city of Gainesville is doing. I just would be very cautious of us saying that we're collaborating with that city, not opening it up to all municipalities.
Like I said, when I hate to go back and use Miami-Dade County. Miami-Dade County Cultural Affairs, they use the word collaborate.
Okay.
And I guess that's the reason why that hit, so much instilled in me. And they're always trying to collaborate because that's how you grow. That's how you build a strong foundation. Since this section, this committee is newborn, this foundation is not as strong, is weak. So when you have something that you're giving birth to, you have to find a way to feed it in order for it to grow. I hear everybody saying, okay, let's promote. Okay, tell me how we're going to promote. Just giving out, wait a minute, just giving out a grant once a year is not enough. Just saying, well, we have a contract with this organization, that organization, for them to promote us, that's not enough. That's not enough. You're setting yourself up to fail.
Well, the thing about it for me, and then I'm gonna, because I probably am too close to this, Queen, is that when the city of Gainesville was the local arts agency, they did absolutely nothing for the counties, and I was there. And even the arts tag funding went to, you would have, say, 8 or 9 organizations, which are great, that would get their outside agency funding, their grants. And then those same organizations would then go and complete a grant application for a special project, and then they would get the tag money. And I was the one that was appointed by the Board of County Commissioners to sit on that board as a county appointee. And I argued all the time, and David will remember, we trying to get support for the other municipalities, and there was never a place for individual artists. And so for me, I feel like what the LAA did, I just feel like they didn't do what they were needed to do to service individual artists and people outside of Alachua County. And I think that we just need to stay focused on what our purpose is. And maybe down the line, there's opportunities to do collaboration. But if you didn't do what you needed to do as a LAA, when you had that designation for over 15, 20 years, why would we turn around now that the Board of Commissioners have taken that away from the city of Gainesville? We turn around and say, okay, we need to go back and collaborate. I just think that we need to maybe even if we end up doing it, and I really like Russell, has absolutely nothing to do with Russell, but for someone who was appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, who sat there on that board and constantly argued for the support for the municipalities, because that was what I was supposed to do, and not seeing it, and then seeing the same 10, 15 organizations, great organizations, they get the outside agency funding from the city of Gainesville, then they turn around and they do a special summer program and they get the tag money, and nobody else could ever access that. And that's one of the beautiful things I think about the Arts Council, is that we can offer professional development to individual artists. We could offer something to the different municipalities.
Okay,
And
so
again, the Board of County Commissioners chose to take that designation, because the LAA was a county, states give that to counties, but the county gave it to the city of Gainesville to run, and then the county said, hey, we're going to take it back. And they're going to take it back. And that's where we came in. And that's what Gina was talking
Okay,
about in
so-
2017.
So what would be your suggestion what would be your suggestion for us to reach across the aisle to different agencies?
I think that what we have in the different council members that we have that's on this council right now, I think they're just fabulous. I think they represent Irina, Chelsea, Megan, Jessica. I think they all represent a cross section of wonderful artists, and I think we need to grow our council. And if there's possibilities that we can collaborate on projects, I think they mentioned in the last meeting, what somebody brought up about equity, doing some equity projects. Well, the city of Gainesville has equity projects. There are opportunities, I think there may be for projects, but I think they need, everybody can come to us and give us a report on what we're doing. But I think we need to stay focused on building a Alachua County Arts Council. And applying for our own grants and raise and build, because I remember when there wasn't a department, and you do too, because you were around when Dr. Moore, 20, 30 years, there was no a council. There was no Alachua County Cultural Affairs Department. He was a Trump saxophone player, had a dream. He had to beg the city of Gainesville to give him a budget to start the department. And then here we are, they have a department. So it started out with one person saying, this is something I would really like to do. And then a nonprofit organization in town that Commissioner Hutchison was on, the Arts Association of Alachua County, was part of building that. So I just think we just need to just build our agency. Just build it up.
Can I
Yes.
offer a thought? So I hear everything that you're saying, and that city of Gainesville pulls a lot of attention. It's where the university is. It's like it also defaults to not honoring everybody who's in the greater county, and that the county council needs to focus on the county population and the county artists who aren't getting that level of support and attention that the city of Gainesville is getting. I wonder if there's just a simpler thought here that could just be that maybe there's just a line of communication open between the city of Gainesville and the county, where we talk to each other, we know what the other is doing. It doesn't mean that there has to be a collaboration. It doesn't mean that anybody's resources need to be diverted away from their primary objectives, but that it also means that, like, if something comes up, there's another means that we can support people, where it's like a Gainesville artist comes to us and we can say, you know, hey, the city of Gainesville has X going on, or we might learn about something that the city's doing that has the potential to support a county artist that we could then loop them in on.
You're collaborating.
Yeah, well, and I want to be careful about this word collaboration.
Right.
What I'm hearing from Carol is that has the potential to divert energy, right? That, like, we could be like, oh yeah, we could collaborate with the city of Gainesville, and it sounds like Carol's fear is like, oh, we do that, and then more funding and more support goes to Gainesville artists that needs to go to county artists and that sort of thing. So I just want to I want to honor that fear because it seems valid. But I am thinking in terms of like the parallel in the university, which is that I see it happen all the time, that like 3 different departments get an idea, they put forward 3 different programs that are all like approaching the same problem or the same topic, and then 6 months later everyone's like, oh wait, you were doing that? Oh, I was trying to do that. Oh, we could have pooled resources. And it seems useful to just be in communication in case something like that comes up. Not that we have to, not that, like, you know, that we can still stay focused on like developing the county and supporting county artists and like being aware of that like rural versus urban dichotomy that happens, but like it seems useful just to be kept in each other's loop. That's it.
So maybe that's something we can do, like often, like she said, invite the city of Gainesville to a meeting and just kind of let us know what they're doing, but then invite everybody else.
And
I'll just quickly say David and I are both on the Gainesville Council.
Oh,
so
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Thank you, Chelsea. Yeah.
Insert credit for myself. I was just saying it might not even be inviting people. It could just be like David and I tell you guys what's going on.
Okay. Okay.
But to that point, like it seems like having like a yearly check-in with all of the cities, like the whole county and whoever's doing arts endeavors and however each county is doing that. Because I know like High Springs where I live doesn't have like an arts council, but I know the Parks and Rec team does a lot, as much as they can really, with it not being a focus, and they work closely with a couple of local organizations, right? So they're kind of trying to do some things. And then there's, who knows, I don't know what's happening in Alachua. I kind of know.
Yeah, and I'm with Alachua, so we're building our cultural programs too.
So it seems like in the effort of like what I was saying, to keep these communication lines open, like having like a semi-regular sort of like network check-in for the county might be a good task for us actually to take on as sort of like facilitators of the arts for the county.
Yeah,
So.
The poet laureate just sent me a note and said maybe we can do like joint meetings like the county commission does. So invite all the different municipalities together and we all meet and talk. Okay, any more on this?
Okay, so just for staff clarification, at this point, am I just extending the invitation to the city of Gainesville to have communication with us, or all?
Everyone. I would like to see everyone.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm done. Okay, next, strategic plan review.
So I did share with everybody the marked up version of the strategic plan, and I'm happy to share my screen if we need to go to a certain spot and discuss it, or if anybody had any additional proposed changes. Again, this is a workshop, so we cannot entertain any motions whatsoever, but I'm thinking at this point that our next hybrid meeting, so that's where I would need a quorum of you physically present so we can vote on things, would be our March 1st meeting. So at our February 1st meeting, you're actually going to get submittals for 3 call to artists. So that one can also be a workshop. But then whenever you come back for March 1st, I need you guys to actually vote on which recommended artists are going forward to the Board of County Commissioners. So if that makes sense, we can certainly vote on the strategic plan at our March 1st meeting as well. Oh, and Faye says, are we able to share? So Madam Chair, would you like me to ask her to unmute and?
Yes, if she can unmute and ask, share what? Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, okay. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Great conversation. I like collaboration. Collaboration helps bring in cash. That's called money. When you collaborate with different people and different organizations. However, I am concerned about this city and specifically cultural affairs, which we will be protesting in January because of the racism that comes out of the cultural affairs. For me, it's not even about liking Steve Phillips or Russell Etland. It's about the services that we receive in the community, and we don't get much. And I'm talking about the Black community. A lot of y'all who are on this panel understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't understand, you have my number, you have my email, please get in contact with me. The city has been horrible in terms of Black culture. I was on the committee that asked them to recognize Black History Month. And when it was time to form a committee, they left me out because my voice, I have a big voice, a big mouth, and I tend to speak, hopefully speaking truth to power. And we are sick and tired of the cultural affairs. We're sick and tired of what's happening at the Thomas Center. and we're sick and tired of what's happening with the city. So I guess y'all are the first ones to know that we will be doing civil disobedience, and the first protest will be up at the Thomas Center dealing with arts, because we could have a better community if we dealt more with arts on the local level. And I know that you're talking about Alachua County, and I want to say to you, Carol, thank you so much, because it needs to be expanded outside of Alachua County. The rural folks, the people who live in Waldo, Newberry, Hawthorne, those folks. Why is everything limited to Bodega Plaza, where the African Americans had opportunity to perform, usually, when is that, June, African American Music Month? And so, you know, as you can tell, I have a lot of questions and a lot of anger. A lot of folks in my community that I talk to who are artists, some of the best poets, the best poets and writers hang out east. They're never recognized. And that comes back to the Cultural Affairs Department. So yes, I'm letting you know, we will be there. And just in case you're wondering why we're protesting, we're not protesting the artists, we're protesting the administration and the staff. And the, you know, when I look at the center over, I live over in Porter's Quarters. When I look at our center, which is always closed, they act like it's open and it's doing so much. We could have musicians over here helping the kids over here. It's closed, you know, and it frustrates me. But it's going to do more than frustrate me, because we have to, we're at this level now. We're tired of talking, we're tired of emails, we're tired of having the meetings. So now it's at the point where we have to do civil disobedience. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Would anyone like to address Ms. Williams?
It's okay, you don't really have to, but if you want to, that's fine. But I'm just
Dr.
letting you know in
Queen,
advance. I mean,
Ms. Williams, Dr. Queen agrees with you.
Yeah.
okay,
I agree
absolutely.
that the
Queen.
collaboration brings money. Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Gina, back to our, she had given us our strategic plan. Did anyone get a chance, everyone got a chance to look over it? Was there any other comments you wanted to make about the plan?
Okay, well, hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and ask our communications department to beautify it, you know, include some photos. Some of the things that immediately came to my mind are including a photo of our poet laureate, our late justice, and also, oh, bless you, and also the alligator mural that was made out of the repurposed license plates. So our projects that we've actually been working on that have been accomplished. And if you have anything that you would like to share that you don't mind being part of the strategic plan, I would love to have some of your artwork included as well.
Good. And for the alligator, the county just posted that on their Facebook page. So it's really cool, the alligator made out of the license plates. And there's a call to name it. So can you tell us more about that, Gina?
Sure. So it's something that actually the artist Beth Ravitz had suggested, that oftentimes people want the artwork to have a name. And so the thought is if we have some community excitement, community contest to name it, then that would get people more interested in coming downtown to see it and enjoy it and visit it.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Yes, go
This is
ahead.
only sort of related, but when we award grants, are there any reporting requirements for those grants that include like sending photographs of the projects or documentation? Because that might be really great stuff to include if we have any of it.
So with our grants, and actually Chelsea is one of our grant recipients as well, but they have 6 months to
right. So
provide their report. And so, and we were very non-specific in what their report needed to require. So if this council would like photos, I feel sooner rather than later, I would need to let them know, hey guys, send me some photos, because I don't know where they are with the project. And especially if they're on the back end about wrapping it up, we would have missed every opportunity for photos. So if that's something that you'd like, I'm happy to send it to them, but I may not get any photos until
It-
much later.
Yeah, probably not necessary for this round since we didn't already talk about it, but it might be something to consider for future sort of requirement reporting things. Is like, it doesn't have to be photos, because some projects were not necessarily visually based, but like that kind of stuff that can probably serve us well for promoting ourselves in the future and like
And
things
grant
like that.
applications.
So-
Yeah, because grant applications that we apply, you know, we can show support materials for the projects that we sponsor.
Yeah. So maybe as a council, I don't know if I can't remember if I've ever actually looked at the reporting requirements, but maybe that's something we could review at a future date too, and sort of make sure that we're getting like demographics and things like that grants are apt to ask for.
And there was confusion, honestly, with the grant application last time. And so I'd love to pick Chelsea's brain anyway, as an applicant. It's like, what were those weird things that it's like, we understood what we were asking, but she didn't necessarily know as an applicant what we were asking. So Chelsea, heads up, I'm asking you to put your thinking cap on and remember what weird, quirky things that you just kind of struggled with that application so we can clean it up. Like the 6-month thing, that was really screwing with people's minds.
Are you asking Chelsea now, or you're asking Chelsea for later?
For later, I won't put her.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
It was a while ago. I definitely have to review to remember. I'll think about it.
Okay. All right, so the item number 5 was $250 million arts funding ideas discussion.
And with that, Brina had shared some information. And so if that's okay with you, maybe we could turn the floor over to her so she could kick off her idea, and maybe if others have had ideas as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we already discussed some kind of ephemeral mobile installation on some kind of form of monument. And I just, from my experience, as I understand, people relating to a problem is better if we involve them to this problem, of course, in some kind of fictitious way. So that was the inspiration for the proposal to create the monument as a storytelling, when we use 4 dimensions: the sound, the fine arts as a decoration, as a background of a scene. We use play, and we can involve the viewers to be part of this play, and we use real stories from our community. So it would be really great if anybody from our community would like to tell a story about their life or some other heroes of our community, something significant that happened. It not necessarily has to be good or bad, it just has to be something about us. And we can share the story through this place, through this monument. So that would be like a real life monument. I'm not sure if it's clear, but please feel free to ask questions so I could explain it better, or maybe suggest some more how it could look like.
So where would this monument be located?
So we talked about a mobile, so we could do it like a scene in every city of the Alachua County, or maybe like depends on what stories we collect. Would be great to represent every city we have in Alachua County, and it can be traveling. So it can be outside location. It can be something inside, depending what location we find. So, for example, we have a decoration using just simple plywood or something. We paint a scene. We have some people playing a role, for example, a situation, and we involve engaging people from a viewer to be part of this scene and just naturally react. And if we have this scenario, we reveal some kind of story or problem. So this is just one of the examples. Or it can be just simply a play visualization using the sound, video. It can be video projection. It can be many different forms. And what I particularly like about it is that we can involve artists of different media to be part of this project.
Cool.
I think Jessica also mentioned in the some meetings ago, how could it be like a ephemeral mobile? Maybe you also have some vision how we could accomplish it.
I will be 100% honest with you all. I have not had time to devote to this idea since that meeting. I know it seems like a long time ago, but the fall was
Okay.
exceptionally
Just let us know
overwhelming for me.
and think about it and let us know if you have more.
I mean, I really enjoy the idea and the sort of the energy behind it, especially I'm less familiar or comfortable with like it sounds almost like a kind of theater, and like there's a kind of theater that like involves the audience like kind of co-creating the performance as you go, and I'm trying to like immersive theater. I think there's a kind, and it kind of sounds like that, which could be really beautiful, and especially if we could travel it. I just don't have a lot of knowledge or working skill in that art. So I think in my mind, I was thinking more like movement-based performance that included like text and like involving people like reading things and like, I don't know, but I would have to like spend more time. So.
Yeah, that can be anything. It can be it can be actually made of the posters. You're not saying any words, you show posters. It depends on the artist's creativity. And I would like to put people in teams, like different media specialists together, so they could come up with the idea how to represent it. So we do not guide artists how to do that. We get them together. It's some kind of collaboration, but collaboration on actually developing the idea and how to show it to the viewer and how to engage the viewer in this scene, how to be part of it.
So would the art be the process of putting this together, or at the end of each travel that you're left with a fixed image? Or is the art the process of putting together something?
I would say it would have like several phases. Let's say each phase is a different city, and each phase would have several stages of this. So first is to collect the story, select the story. The second is to get together and come up with the idea how we represent this story. And then it will be more about process. So there will be a painting stage, that will be a sound stage, and depending on what the idea is. But what is important for us is to come up with the general idea of the project and to apply for the grant, because I believe it also will take time. And what we need at the moment is just 300 words to describe what we want. So if we want to think about this possible idea, or more, maybe develop it and submit something, we could just shape it better during the process.
I mean, and it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're even open to it taking a completely like letting artists who are leading projects maybe, or for each county or for each city, like to really leave it open in terms of like the final product of the process, right? And so maybe our project description, if we're going to submit something, could even be more general, like we act as facilitators who sort of solicit artists from each city who would like to be a project leader in developing with community like the idea of a monument. And that could, I mean, it could be that open, because then it leaves it open to like have artists like solicit stories, or what Dr. Queen had a.
It is okay when you say monument. These are like living monuments, like
The grant is kind of defines monuments really loosely on purpose. I think they're sort of saying like, in the context of all these former monuments being torn down because they weren't necessarily like reflective of the community or desirable like stories, like how would you define a monument that you actually care about, and one that actually represents your community, and what would that look like? Is it doesn't have to be a sculpture, it could be a performance, it could be music, it could be a garden, I don't know. So I don't know, it could be that our description is even less specific about the process, even is more like about our role as like finding artists or opening up a process for artists to like identify themselves as folks who want to work with their communities to identify what monument means to those communities, you know, and help facilitate them in sort of creating an ephemeral project that moves from county or city, sorry, I keep saying county, city to city.
Like a
to
touring, something
touring monuments or something that then like come together to represent Alachua County, or I don't know. So especially if it's 300 words, it seems like that would have to be a really.
It's for the initial, yeah, just to apply, we have to write just 300 words, so, but have an idea what it's gonna be. And just wanted to ask you, when you think about a monument of a classical monument, you probably imagine a sculpture, a figure as some kind of hero. And you don't really know the stories unless you read the description at the monument. So what I want to create is the story itself, so people could see it and understand what is the monument about. It not necessarily has to be in shape of a sculpture, you know, a statue. It can be ephemeral, as the grant suggests.
Because if I remember correctly, I think it was it was a sculpture that they had that one of the sculptures they was tearing down or taking down, and it was a woman standing dressed in black, and a photographer took some pictures. Was that it? That's coming from that same project? No.
I don't know that what they've funded so far from that, but except for the monuments, there's a monument, like a sort of, yeah.
They only found it as on the website, they only founded one organization so far. It's a Philadelphia mural project. They have like many of them, and they have like a organization like relevant to them that creates sculptures. And for example, one of the artworks they already produced was the sculpture of an immigrant, which is faceless. So there is not a particular image of that, but the figure holds a suitcase. So to show, kind of express some feelings that immigrants may feel, and to show, you know, this particular didn't put any face, so it can be whoever, you know. So this is just as an example. They really wanted to be creative, and Philadelphia project is a huge nonprofit, and they awarded them like several million, I believe 10 or 20 millions for this program.
It's called Monument Lab.
Yeah, Monument Lab.
It's a 3-year, $4 million grant, and it's an independent public art and history studio. So they're sort of like they're rewriting like not rewriting the reality, but they're like recording the reality and restructuring what monuments look like and mean in their communities, in public space and things like that. And they have a really cool good website and really good resources and information. So it's actually like kind of a good resource for us too if we're thinking about this project ourselves.
You know, if we think about equity and we want to create something about that, what if we do a scene when we involve a person, a viewer, whoever volunteers to come and be part of the scene, to be as a subject of one of the situations and understand how we sometimes unconsciously treat people, you know, how we make decisions, and it can be just revealed through a scene without any particular words, you know, just being part of this scene. You know?
So I think Gina, Megan had a question.
A comment. Can we make the call for Black stories exclusively, or stories from communities of color?
We can, but what I would do originally, I would set call to stories generally to see what people are thinking about. And if we see it's only white stories, we can definitely do a call to Black. But even for me, it's interesting to see what the community is thinking when we ask them about heroes, about everyday stories, about something significant, or somebody that they would want to create a monument for. So maybe just to get a feedback.
My only pushback against that is that like these structures, even within the Alachua County, it's like the distribution I don't know, and I'm being newer here. I don't, maybe you guys know better, but I don't know how consistently we're able to get an adequate sample size of like the whole population in terms of who actually responds to these calls. And I think that while I honor the impulse to listen to the community, I also want to be mindful of the fact that we are inherently operating from a system that is racist and that is unequal. And so to me, it makes sense to start skewed towards the but it makes sense to center the marginalized at the start, to compensate for what we already know is an unequal system. And so that's why I like even just Faye talking today is points towards that in her interactions with the city. So and I think that also speaks to like previous issues that have come up with county calls as well, where the whole idea of a monument is like really infused with questions of race and history at the outset. And so for me to not, if you want to go ahead, Faye.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Faye?
Okay, I'm here. Question one. Is there something already written down about the monument before y'all make a decision? Or is this just a general discussion?
It's a potential grant that we might apply for.
Yeah, I looked at the agenda and I went through the whole agenda and, plugged into certain things. But I'm asking, is there something written down before y'all make a decision about, applying for the grant? And the reason I'm asking that, because I work best when I see some words on paper.
So
Or is this just an open discussion and then you're gonna make a decision based on what? Is your name Irina?
Yeah, so Gina has this paper and maybe we can send it to Faye, right?
And you may have received.
Yeah, we need to send it
today. I had sent it out a couple of hours ago.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I'll check and I'm happy to resend it to you.
Yeah, and I agree with.
There's always the same people who receive the emails. And my concern is that we expand in small group. If you're really interested in the community, we expand it. If you're going to send it to me, I'm going to send it to other people. And I will hope you will do the same thing, because there may be other ideas. But we won't know that if we're making a decision to apply for the grant money without letting people know. So I was asking if this was just a general discussion, or do we need to put out a blast saying, this is going to happen based on what we heard today, which I think is unfair. So that's one concern. The other thing, for the last 9 months, I've been my mind keeps going round and round and round about housing. And I've been thinking about doing something from Hale Plantation all the way to out east. And the theme is housing and home. Is this my home? It goes back to the Zion Church. Where's my place? In Gainesville. And so looking at Hale Plantation and knowing what that was about, and looking at the lack of housing that's still out east for Black folks, I thought that would be a great thing to make things happen in the city. But that's just my thought. But I'm hoping that before you make a final decision in terms of the grant, please expand it and get other ideas. Not to say yours is not good, but I'm just saying expand it. We have to be open to everybody. Expand it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to comment to Megan's point that, I agree that the distribution of information can be somehow uneven, and maybe we do have to reach out particularly to some layers of the society, and we can also set a particular topic if we want to address the particular problem, right? And in this case, we wouldn't have it narrowed. For the moment, I'm just suggesting an idea of how we could represent a monument in an ephemeral way. So at the moment, for the submission, we need the really brief idea of what we are going to create. And the details, of course, we can polish together.
Yes.
Well, we're not taking any motions today. This is just a workshop. And I think in our previous meeting, I actually brought up another possibility to apply for the grant, which was an art retreat center at Cuskawilla. So I think we probably should have one more discussion about this because it's not a deadline, correct? So maybe we could have another, bring it back on our next agenda, Gina. And then each of us, if you have individual people you would like to share it with, we can, and I certainly will too.
Yeah, so I understand Cascavilla is a nonprofit that we can partner because we do need a nonprofit to apply because I understand this program still needs a nonprofit status to get the grant. Right, Gina? Am I correct?
I thought it was open to government, so I believe that we can apply so long as we
Yes.
know what the idea is. But if there is something specifically at Cuskawilla, we do have a group and they have filed their articles of incorporation, but they're not technically a 501c3 yet. They filed, but we've not yet received the paperwork back.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because as I checked on their website, it does say they do not provide grants to individuals or different kind of organizations, but there's those who have 501c3. But I understand in case of the government, it would work too.
So therefore, we need a organization that has a 501c3 that we need to collaborate with in order to get the money. Is that what you're saying?
Or
Yeah,
Alachua County can be an applicant.
Alachua, I think we should, if at all possible, I think we need to go through Alachua County, if at all possible. Because once you start saying we're going to collaborate with a nonprofit, who's the nonprofit? How do we select that nonprofit? Why that nonprofit, not this nonprofit? Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Oh, I'm going to be a problem.
Yeah, because I got 2 nonprofits I can mention.
Okay, I got 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the idea of having a nonprofit and making sure that it's not the same people who run the nonprofits. Because when you look at the history of Gainesville and Alachua County, the money flows to the same nonprofits. And that's some of the big problem that we have today. And also keep in mind that, the whole concept of truth and reconciliation, that should be the theme on everything that we do. Truth and reconciliation, if you're really concerned about what's really happening in the county, well, actually in the state and the nation. Truth and reconciliation. Thank you.
thank you. I'm really glad Faye is here, and your opinion is always very valuable when it's about equity in African Americans. So I would definitely want to hear your feedback about any proposal we come up with.
You say equity, I always say revolution. Never mind.
Okay, any further discussion on the grant? Okay, Megan? Oh, is that a clap? Oh, okay.
Clapping.
Clapping. All right, artists, WUFT, Artistry in Motion. Miss Gina?
All right, so WUFT reached out to me, and what they're looking for is for an Arts Council member to assist them with identifying different art participants to sit on the review panel and to assist with developing parameters for participation. It's for an Artistry in Motion campaign, and so they want to have both on their print and their FM radio site different ways to just really bring some recognition to artists. So I believe at this point, they're simply looking for a volunteer Arts Council member to sit in on this and help develop criteria, determine the qualifications of the folks, try and get the word out, get lots of folks to apply, and then help cull through all of the applications and select those who really should be recognized and profiled. And again, I cannot take any motion, so if I'm looking for volunteers.
I would like to volunteer, and I'd like to say why. Because I would be very excited to work with WUFT. But in addition to serving on this board, I'm on the State of Florida's Media Arts Board. So I'm one of the ones that give out the grants to WUFT, as well as all the other public radio and television stations in the state of Florida. And I also run a nonprofit radio station in High Springs. So I have quite a bit of media experience as well as the arts.
Wouldn't that be a conflict of interest?
How so?
I'm just asking.
If the University of Florida applied for a media arts grant, and I'm sitting on a panel that they're applying for that grant, I would have to recuse myself just like I would with anything else. But I am allowed to sit on any public TV or radio station. It's just that I would have to recuse myself if they apply for a state grant.
I just have a question about this program. It looks like they want artists to pay for this opportunity, like $300, but at the same time, they encourage sponsorship of these artists from corporations. Is that correct?
Let me pull up the information that they sent. Because they were looking for partnership opportunities, but they indicated that, you know, they would not ask us for, you know, to provide a sponsorship or anything. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to read through their PowerPoint real fast. So yes, there is a one-time fee for the artists of $300. And in exchange for that $300, they get 1 hour filming session, production of a 45-second origin story. The origin story will air a total of 20 times on the following stations, and they provide about 7 or so. The origin story will be made available to the artist for repurposing.
If any of you have seen recently the Star Center Children's Theater, they did a program for them, really nice artistry and motion video for them, as well as Gainesville Community Playhouse. So if you go to at least those two websites, you'll probably be able to see the quality of their videos.
I didn't realize that there was a fee for artists, and I kind of have a problem with that. Like, I feel like it's very, like, that's a huge barrier. Like, that's not just like a $25, $50 fee, which is still a barrier. That's like a huge barrier for most artists. And it's
Yeah,
gonna
so
limit
that's why I wanted to bring this point, because
participate, and like then that means you're only getting a really small window of the people who practice arts in Alachua, because it's only the people who can, I mean, like, that's a problem. Like, I feel like more than anything, actually, like, if it were me on my own, I would come back to them with like, you need to figure out a model where you're supporting the artists and you're not sort of like creating this,
Challenging the artist.
this like problem for them. Like,
Yeah,
this isn't really supporting artists. This is like saying we want to, 1, up our portfolio by using your work, and 2, make you pay for it. And that's really not okay, like, in my book. And I would hesitate as the council to support that, and instead actually challenge them on that they need to find funding if they want to do this project.
Right.
Sorry, I have really strong feelings about that.
I agree with you. Right. That's no. How are you promoting? I'm paying for my own promotion.
yeah,
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just so there are 2 points of this. It's good to have promotion for artists anyway, right? But it's not good for artists to pay, especially these times. Many artists do not even have funds to live this year, not even speaking about some kind of marketing expenses. However, this program allows corporations to sponsor artists. So either way, it is benefit for WFT, who are creating great content. They get more audience for themselves, and they get paid for that. So it's probably a good solution for them. What we can do or suggest them is that they pair them with corporations and provide more opportunities for corporations to be promoted as well as artists. So kind of get them together instead of having artists to pay. There is also a point I want to mention. They ask for $300 per artist, and they ask corporations to pay $500 the minimum, which would cover 2 artists. It means that an artist still has to pay a $50 difference to be covered. So it's like some kind of scholarship. So I would just, if you are in the committee, Carol, I would just suggest them to provide full sponsorship for artists and pair them with corporations. That would be beneficial for all 3 parties.
Okay, cool.
And I mean, it might be worth suggesting to them, like, if they're going to select artists, then they like find the corporate sponsors first, so then they know how many artists that are paid for, or like say like, we're selecting you, but your like actual production would be dependent on a corporation deciding to sponsor you, and then corporations can pick from some artists or something. I don't know, but like,
I mean, I'm not involved with them, you know, but I do know that they're offering grants to artists, because that's how both the Gainesville Community Playhouse and the Star Center got their videos done, through a grant. But how much they gave them, I don't know.
If they're giving grants, do the artists have to pay that $300 in order to be apply for that grant?
I have no idea, honey. I only know what you know, but I just know that, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I agree with you guys.
Maybe we could ask them some questions.
Yeah.
I think at this point they're asking for a volunteer to serve on their panel. Or what are they asking for, Gina?
That is correct. They're looking for one of you to volunteer to, let's see, assist with identifying art participants, sit on the review panel, and assist with developing the parameters for participation.
Correct. And so that's what then that's, yeah.
Okay.
In other words, help them develop their strategic plan.
Correct.
We can have you as advocate as well, so we can just add the point, advocate for artists.
Yes. Well, of course, I'm going to fight for the artists for sure. Okay. Is Miss Faye still there? She gone? Okay.
No, she's right there. I see her.
Oh, she's still, okay. Any comments, Miss Faye? Any thoughts?
She's mute.
Oh, she's mute. Okay. All right.
No, I'm here. I never leave.
Okay.
I me to leave, but I never leave. I resist. And I'm happy that you volunteered to be part of the steering committee, the strategic plan committee.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You can ask the right questions.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
I know you will.
Any other public comment? No. Any other comments from the council? No. Well, then I think then we will adjourn.
Oh, I have a comment.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You said community comment.
Yes.
PBS will be following me for the next 6 months. So they're doing a documentary sort of on me, but really it's about my bookstore that I had up in DC. And I will be making sure that Alachua County Arts Coalition will be part of it.
Thank you.
Arts Council will be part of it in some kind of way. It's sort of frightening to have somebody that close to me, but it's really not about me. It's about the work that I've done since I moved back to Gainesville. And I'm hoping that they will focus on the Confederate soldier, how we were able to relocate that over to Marion County. And the fact that we were able to rename some schools in Alachua County from J.J. Finley to Miss Parker, Sister Parker. So I will be calling a few folks to see if you can be part of it. And I ask for your prayers and your strength to make it happen the right way, because it will be representing the city of Gainesville. Why I left and why I came back home.
All right.
So thank
Thank
you.
you. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
had one quick thing too. I didn't realize it was
Okay.
closing.
Okay.
I just wanted to share, kind of going back to the thing about Gainesville's council, just to share a piece of news of what they're doing with you all that you might find interesting. And David, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are nominating right now. The nomination form for our, what is it, annual awards or whatever is open. I think the deadline actually was a few days ago, but we haven't met yet. So I'm sure, I just looked online and it still is open accepting applications. So if there are people that you think are deserving of an award and you want to nominate them for an award, there's like 4 different categories: a lifetime category, an emerging artist category for artists under a certain age. And there's,
That's
you
just
email
city
that-
of, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Can you email that link to Gina and have her send it to the rest of us?
I will, and I'll also email it to you, Faye, so that you get it as well, because I know you specifically mentioned like recognition and people not getting recognition. So that's the recognition that they do each year. So that's a great time to nominate.
And it's just for folks in the city of Gainesville, right?
I think they expanded it. Did they, David, did you tell me that they expanded it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, no? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the deadline passed already, as it was published on the website, but it might be a different date now because it seemed to be it was closed. Supposed to be closed.
Yeah, I just looked during our conversation tonight, and the form is still open. The official deadline was December 15th, but David, we haven't met yet, right, to go over those applications?
That would be the end of January.
Yeah, so I'd suggest sending in applications, and I will advocate that late applications are heard if you want to do that.
And David, don't comment on that because I'm afraid you guys may have a different sunshine violation, so.
Okay.
Oops.
Maybe
Okay.
that's something we could do is for the county at some point in the future.
Yes.
Because I was excited when I saw those, and then I was bummed when I was like, oh, it's only for people in Gainesville.
See?
But
Okay, awesome. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you. It's been a great meeting, and we'll see each other next month.
Hey.
Oh, before we
All
go,
right.
so next
Faye.
month,
Okay.
we have to come in, or we're
Yeah,
gonna do
what?
virtual.
For our March 1st meeting, I'll need a quorum of you physically present. But for our February 1st meeting, that's when you're actually going to get the submittals for the call to artists. So you don't need to be physically present because I'll send you a link with all of the information, but it's whenever you actually provide your scores and we decide, you know, artist A, B, and C are the 3 that we're going to send to the Board of County Commissioners. I need you to make a motion for
So we have
that
to come in on
In
March.
February.
in March. Yeah.
Oh, in March. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
All right.
Y'all have
Thank
a
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.